If you think back to being a child or young, did you ever have experience with something that you just can't explain? Story of how I first met Archangel Michael. This is the 80s. This is the era of Poltergeist, Freddy Krueger, all the horror movies. I was 3 years old. It's 11:11 on my actual real clock. So I feel like this is a story I'm supposed to be telling. So I was a preschooler, 3 years old in preschool. And I had a younger sibling who was a year old. And we are a year and a half. We're very close. Still are. We were then. I mean, I adored my younger sibling. And then my parents. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night and I saw 3 heads. And where my bed was, I could see across the hallway to the foot of my parents' bedroom, at their bed. And it absolutely terrified me. I mean, terrified me. Shook me at my core. And I remember pulling like my Care Bear covers over me. And I just wanted, because I loved Care Bears, and I just wanted to be safe. But I thought, how am I ever going to protect my younger sibling? I have to do something. Being a preschooler, I felt it was my responsibility to protect my family and my younger sibling. So I threw the covers back and started standing guard at the door in my bedroom. And that's when I felt this presence of deep love, like really deep love. And I heard a voice and I could see like a silhouette. And I just knew. And I had never really heard the name Archangel Michael before this time, but I knew it was Archangel Michael. And he said my name, and he said he was with me, and he will help me, because he knew I was trying to keep everyone safe, and I didn't have to be afraid. That he was with me, and he will help me. And that's how he introduced me to his sword of protection. And I later on learned about who Archangel Michael was in life. That I guess he is like the archangel of protection. And he told me to envision his sword and to use the color to kind of bring around a color of protection for my younger sibling, for my parents, and for myself, so I could feel safe. And he said, and you can go back to sleep. And so I did. And this went on for a while. He would talk to me a lot and teach me things. But I knew these 3 heads. I could see them. And they were 2 men and a woman is what I could tell. But they just seemed like floating heads, and they seemed dark and kind of gray. And I had a hard time understanding why I could see them and what they were doing there. And so as time went on, he told me that I could help them if I wanted to. Because I would, at night, each night, he said I'd call on him anytime I want. I still do. And that I could help these people. I'm fast forwarding this story. I'm not going to tell you the whole long, drawn out story because it would take forever. So I remember talking to them. He said, you can talk to them, and I won't let them hurt you. They can't hurt you. They're not going to hurt you. And so I started talking to them, and he gave me guidance questions on what to ask. And he said, only you can help them. And I remember thinking, okay, well, I'll do that. I want to help. I remember asking them, like, you know, are you okay? Do you miss your family? do you want to go home? And they're like, yes, we want to be home. We miss our family. We miss our friends. I said, you must be really lonely. They said, yes, we're really lonely. And so the more I talked to them, and this was the course of several nights. Of course, my whole family has no idea what their 3-year-old is doing. As time went on, they started to come more to life. And it was unbelievable. They weren't scary. They were just drained from being stuck for so long. And I'm not telling this story out of fear, because this is an anomaly, is what Archangel Michael had said, is this is an anomaly. This is exceptionally rare that this ever happens. And this is in my whole life, like all of you who are familiar with me, I see people all the time who have crossed over. This is the only time I've ever experienced this, because I don't know of any other case that this has really happened in. So the more I talked to them, the more they started to come to life the way people will usually come through and present themselves either in their energetic color, their soul color, or in a human form, but they usually show themselves in a younger version of themselves, or in a healthier version of what they once were if I'm describing them to a family member. But they'll show me like a human kind of version of them so I can describe them, or they will give me photos of something. They'll give me something that's tangible. Or I just see like the soul energetic color, but then they'll give me images of things. I had never seen, this is the only time in my entire life when I was 3 was when I saw this. I've never seen it again in my life. And I've been a lot of places in the world. And they came more to life, like how I usually see people when they cross over. And it was a man from the 1920s, a woman from the 1800s, like, I don't know, probably mid 1800s, and another gentleman from like mid to late 1800s, but none of them were related to each other. They were just all there. I don't know if they were related because they were from that, where I was from, and they were all from the same place they had passed in that same area, because I'm originally from San Francisco, so I don't know if it had to do with the city, and that's why. But they were all dressed very differently from different time periods. The gentleman and the woman were from different time periods in the 1800s, and I could tell, even being 3, they were not from the same time frame, and they weren't connected. They were just all connected because they'd been together for so long. And the gentleman was definitely from the early 1920s. But then they were there, and they had their whole bodies back. And it was very interesting, retrospectively looking back. To me, it just seemed like, oh, okay, I'm so glad that they seemed so much more alive and happy and vibrant, and they were telling me about their families and how much they miss their families and friends. And I said, well, I don't think they're here now, And I remember pointing to my little canopy Care Bear bed, and I said, does this look like your time? And they all were just like shocked, like, no. I said, and I remember I still loved the Care Bears at 3, but I'm a preschooler, and we're holding up, and this was also guided by Archangel Michael. He was right there with me. It was almost as if he was holding me. I remember holding up a Care Bear and saying, is this stuff that you have now, or you remember? And they were like, no. And I said, I don't think this is where you're supposed to be right now. Do you think this is where you're supposed to be? And they said, no, this isn't where we're supposed to be. And they were so kind, and they felt so bad for scaring me. And they all apologized. And they said, we never meant to scare you. We were so happy someone could see us. We knew someone could then help us because we want to go home. And I said, oh, okay. Well, then go home. And with that, the most miraculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life happened. And I know, that's how I know this is real. And it's not some fantasy in my head. It is the most incredible thing. This huge light appeared in my bedroom. This light, brighter than the sun, brighter than anything I've ever experienced, just radiating love. Something I've never felt, and something I was overwhelmed by. It just was there. And all I wanted to do was go into this light. And I watched them go into it. And I could feel this love, this miraculous love that is indescribable, incomprehensible, something the human brain cannot wrap their head around. It is this immense acceptance, this immense love that we don't even know as human beings, but our souls recognize. And I just wanted to run. I was ready. I was like, I don't care. I help these people. My family's fine. I'm in there. I'm going. That's where I want to be. That is the only place to be. It is the most loving thing I've ever felt and seen, other than this other place I've also been taken to. And I remember Archangel Michael saying my name and saying, you cannot go there. And he wouldn't let me. He held on to me so strong. I wasn't allowed in. He said, you have too much to do. You have work to do. You are not allowed to go into that. That's only for them. There's other things you have to do in this lifetime. And there's a different way for you. But I'm staring because it was just so remarkable seeing this light, and it appeared on the right side of my bedroom. And I remember watching them walk from the left to the right into this light. And I knew forever this exists. The afterlife exists. Everything exists. It is miraculous and beautiful. And that's how I know there is no fear. And that's the only time I've ever had to help souls, 3 souls, cross over in my entire life as a medium. The rest of the time, everyone else has just naturally gone on. I remember asking Archangel Michael why didn't they go the first time? Because I thought it was related to like them wanting to be in the city and this and that. And he said, sometimes people stay for a reason. They'll stay because they don't think they deserve it. They refuse it. He said, but it doesn't happen. It's very, very rare, because we will talk to them and explain to them why they deserve this, why their souls belong here. But some people, he said, it's always free will. It's their choice. It's the soul's choice. But some souls just think that they'd rather stay around and they don't deserve to go because of, for whatever reason or whatever things they may have done, they feel that they don't deserve that kind of love, which isn't true. Because forgiveness is allowed, and you are allowed to be forgiven because they came here to learn. And souls make mistakes, and souls are forgiven. But it's okay. He said, but it's very, very rare. He said, and that's why he came. It was because he had to teach me things. And he said, all I have to do is call on his name because he will always be helping me and teaching me and working with me. But that's the only time I've ever had to help a soul's cross over. He told me, people, he's like, they're like you, they run. they don't usually say, no, let me think about it, I want to debate it. He's like, they run. And he also said a lot of people will have near-death experiences and they don't want to come back, and they fight, and they don't want to return to Earth either, because once you experience it, you don't ever want to come back. And that's true. Once I experienced that, I didn't want to come. And then I've in a different video, just write the word garden, because I was taken to this miraculous garden in the afterlife that is just inexplicable. That if you want to hear that story. And he said sometimes people will experience things and they don't want to return, or they just want to stay there. So, but their job on Earth isn't done, so they have to come back. So I just thought those things were kind of interesting as to why. But it's also, people can understand that there is something beyond us, because so many people don't understand that. There is. I know, I've experienced it 2 different ways, and it is just love. It is love beyond the word love. And I don't know, I wish I was a poet and I could articulate it better for all of you. But I hope this helps, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.